Welcome back. Today we are at Warwick Castle, which is notorious for its hauntings, eerie happenings, and of course, it has quite an extensive history of battle, blood, and torture. In the 14th century, the structure of this castle was developed into stone, which is what we see today. The iconic shape and defences of the castle were enhanced during this time, especially due to the reconstruction of the gatehouse, the barbican, and a tower at each end of the new, at the time, stone wall. Dungeons were built at the bottom of Caesar's Tower, which featured a vaulted basement and the oubliette, which we will see soon. This part of the castle was built to hold prisoners captured during the war, particularly with France. One of the creepiest parts of the castle is definitely the jail, which is also known as the true dungeons of the castle. This is where prisoners were housed, if you could call it housing, after being captured. The jail would have been incredibly dark and it was a very dingy space. It was ventilated by one small shaft and drained with just one inbuilt drain, which meant it probably smelled pretty bad. Jail also features stocks where prisoners would have been left to hang from their feet. However, that's not the harshest part of the jail. The oubliette is another part of the dungeon that sits beneath the jail. It's accessed only by this ominous trapdoor, and it would likely be pitch black down there. It's a very claustrophobic space, which often caused prisoners to develop severe mental trauma. Prisoners were lowered into the space and they barely had enough room to stand once they were inside. They could hardly even sit, kneel, or turn around, exposing them to an excruciating level of discomfort. The oubliette subjected prisoners to complete isolation. They were left in there to be forgotten, hence the name oubliette, which is actually French for to forget. Some of the prisoners inside the dungeons would have been starved to death. However, if someone needed to be kept alive for tactical reasons, they were offered a very minimal amount of low quality food. Inscriptions on the stone walls were discovered in the dungeons, likely created by prisoners inside, leaving their mark on the castle forever. You can still see these in the dungeons today. It's said that the dungeons are heavily haunted, which isn't a surprise considering the amount of people who probably died in these rooms. Apparently, many visitors often refuse to go down to the dungeons after experiencing strange, overwhelming, or even melancholic feelings just before entering. Sometimes, once inside, staff and visitors have reported sensations of an unpleasant energy within the space. Growling, hissing, and laughing sounds are often heard from the dungeons, and according to the castle website, some have even experienced the feeling of being pushed or grabbed, especially on the stairs descending into the dungeon, alongside dramatic and unnatural temperature changes. After visiting, some people have claimed to find scratches and red marks on the skin with unknown causes. The Ghost Casebook on YouTube addressed that the ghost of a frail man wearing a tunic is often seen behind the metal gate in the dungeon, warning people to stay back. If you're looking for a scarier way to experience the castle, then the Castle Dungeons experience is open every day for an additional fee. It's a live scare experience. It features live actors, including a jester, a torturer, and a few others. It's perfect for those seeking an extra thrill during their visit. I went in this one myself. Obviously, you can't film in there, but it was a lot of fun. Be prepared to get picked on. That is all I'm gonna say. Warwick Castle also comes with many ghost stories. It's said that one of the most famous ghosts within the castle is the ghost of Sir Fulk Greville, who owned the castle in the 1600s. Sir Greville was brutally murdered by a servant who stabbed him to death. Legend has it that his spirit now roams the castle grounds. Greville's murderer, Ralph Haywood, slit his own throat after he committed the crime. It's said that sometimes Greville's dying moans can be heard throughout the South Tower, where his death occurred. Sometimes his spirit even emerges from the portrait of him still hanging on the wall today, which kind of reminds me of Hogwarts in a very dark way. Another ghostly legend is simply known as the Black Dog, a large black dog with red eyes and a foaming mouth, classic Hammer horror style. The Black Dog is believed to be the essence remaining from a curse that was placed on the castle by former servant Moll Bloxham. During her time, Bloxham was granted a concession from the Earl to sell surplus milk and butter from the castle kitchens. However, she priced these surplus items very highly, leading to growing dissatisfaction from her customers and eventually angering the Earl, who decided to withdraw her concession as a result. There are various tales of events that occurred afterwards, one being that Bloxham disappeared swiftly after vowing revenge on the castle using magical powers. Shortly after, a phantom black dog appeared, haunting the grounds and terrifying anyone who came into contact with it. Apparently, 3 clergymen exorcised the phantom and forced it to jump from the top of Caesar's Tower. Other stories explain that Moll Bloxham was actually punished for her actions, and in her dying breath, she took a curse upon the castle, which soon appeared in the form of the phantom black dog. Some say that after this it was actually a servant who tricked the dog into jumping off the tower, which then reappeared in the form of a grey lady who still haunts the castle today. One of my favourite parts of Warwick Castle was definitely the weapons. Here you can see a huge array of medieval style weapons, from halberds to a trebuchet of apparently around 60 feet tall. This is a type of catapult used as a weapon in the Middle Ages. If you're looking for something spooky to do this Halloween, they also have 2 different events on at Warwick Castle throughout October. One being the Haunted Castle, which is family friendly, and the other being Castle After Dark, which is for adults and it's a bit scarier, so if you want an evening full of fright, I would definitely recommend checking that out. If you're looking for more spooky content, follow this channel and follow us on social media at Hunting Horror Official. You can also check out our spooky day guides at huntinghorror.co.uk. Just head to our store page and browse the guides. Every guide is based in the UK and it features a full itinerary of spooky activities, plus information like parking, travel, accessibility information, pricing and more. Thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next one.